Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Law Abiding Citizens. My name is Nkosi, and I'll be your host for this show. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been a week since we engaged with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed our last show on maintenance, because I did. I really did enjoy it. So today I will not waste much of your time. Nasi tunotaura nezve guardianship and guardianship of minors. I'm sure most of you are very familiar with this topic because we've had so many questions on the procedure of the application, as well as we've done so many applications on guardianship as well. So we just thought, you know what, let's just do an episode on our podcast where we just briefly give a description, or rather just state how the whole application goes, and hopefully a lot of people vachabatsirikana nayo podcast episode ine patikutaura guardianship. Most of you guys are relocating. Most of you guys are relocating, so that's why we've had so many we have had to do so many applications on guardianship, and I've had so many friends of mine asking me, so how do we do this whole procedure? Hi, does it not take long? Is it not complicated? It's really not complicated. Well, it shouldn't be complicated, and it can. So today I decided, you know what, let's just give a short episode on this topic. So most people, they're actually confusing custody and guardianship. Those are two different concepts. Those are very different concepts. So we'll just give two brief definitions on both concept and discuss so that we are on the same page. TSA. So I'll first start by defining what guardianship is, and because that's the center of the whole episode here, Nasi. So I will just define brief definition, very simple, because to not everyone abatsirikane and it. So what is guardianship? This is mainly, it's just a right that, not just a right, it's a right, rather an obligation that is given to either of the parents to, take care of the child's financial needs, the child's educational needs, health needs, all those needs, angadiwa nemwana ndiyo inonzi iyo guardianship. So trukuti susu ikodzero inopiwa one of the parents, or either of the parents, or both of the parents, it depends on the circumstances of the case, kuti vai take care of my interest emwana, like my educational, my needs emwana, right? Rather zvinodiwa nemwana, educational needs zvechikoro, zvine chekuita nechikoro, zvine chekuita neutano hwemwana, zvine chekuita nemari dzinenge dzichidiwa nemwana, ndo inonzi iyo guardianship. So you are making sure kuti mwana ari kuwana all those things anditya, because ikodzero yemwana kuti azviwane. Then touya pacustody. Custody is different now. Pakuti custody is actually a primary obligation that is given to the custodian parents to literally take care of the primary needs of the child's welfare, the child's well-being. Munhu anotogara nemwana, so anotomeka sure kuti mwana akachengetedzeka, mwana ari kuwana zvese zvaari kuda. So guardianship, it can be you can literally take care of a child's interests or a child's educational needs, even in another country or anywhere else, but not with the child sometimes. But for custody, it's someone who's actually staying with the child 24/7. Pakangonzi, there's an emergency, this is needed, blah, it's the custodian parent who has to make sure kuti zvinizvo zvaita anditi. So then we go pakuti what actually regulates guardianship. So as we all know, in law, there's an act for literally everything and anything. So guardianship is not an exception to that. So there's a whole act that was put in place so as to take care of the child's interests. The child's interests are of paramount importance. So patorine act yakatoiswa inoita kuti kodzero dzemwana dzichengetedzeke handiti. I hope I'm going to be mixing Shona in English because I need everyone to understand so that we are all on the same page. So it's the Guardianship of Minors Act is the one that actually regulates guardianship of minors. So it's chapter 508. So panic, there's just this point that I need to put out there. Before the Amendment Act, the father of the child had to consult the mother before they could decide on anything with regards to the child's interests and it. So the mother literally had an upper hand before the amendment was put in place. So the mother, truti susu baba, before paitwa kamwe correction, not correction rather, but I don't know how to put it in Shona. Please, my fellow colleagues, those who know how to put it in Shona, please help me. But mwana baba vaifana kuconsulta amai pa whatever decision that they had to make maererano nekodzero dzemwana. Baba vaitofana kutotanga vabvunza mai, saka mai ndo vanga vaine chinonzi chiremerera handizoti chinonzi chi, but mai ndo vanga vaine upper hand, saka baba vaisakwanisa kungoita any decision before or rather without consulting the mother and it. But pakazoitwa, there was an amendment that was put in place, that is section 3 of the Amendment Act yakaitwa in 2022 and that's Guardianship of Minors Act Amendment, Guardianship of Minors Amendment Act number 2 of 2022. So now both parents have to be in agreement. Both parents have to consult each other. Both parents have to, just consult each other and then come to an agreement with certain things zvinenge zvichidiwa nemwana. Saka tikuti isusu vabereki vese vakutofana kutogara pasi votowirirana semhuri kuti tikuda kuti mwana aende kunodzidza kuchikoro chakati. Zvinoita here baba, zvinoita here mai. I want my child to go and learn at this particular school. Is it possible? Is it okay? If it's not okay, what are the reasons why we're saying it's not okay? Be it financial reasons, be it whatsoever reasons it could be. But both parents have to be in agreement now. It's now different from before the amendment was put in place, where the mother had to be consulted by the father, right? So now, since I said it's just a brief episode, it's just a short episode where we just want to, clarify on certain things that people out there. So now we go to the process, the procedure. It's really not supposed to be a complicated one, but you know what, Tirivanu, there are some complications with either of the parties, but it's really not supposed to be complicated. And I've seen that this application is mostly done by those who are very separated, and because in some instances it's the mother who wants to relocate to the UK, relocate to Australia, Canada, and then the father is remaining behind. So now you have to do an application, so that the father also consents to the child being taken or the child also relocating. So pakutopinda nyaya dzeguardianship, or mai vanenge vakutoti you know what, let me just take care of my child, or baba vanenge vakutoona kuti you know what, let me just take care of my child. Then they do that application. So mainly it's done in the High Court, because High Court is the upper guardian of of all minors. But there are some instances in where the maintenance, guys, no, we are not talking about maintenance today, definitely not. There are some cases where the magistrate court, sitting as the children's court, has to, hear these kind of applications. And it's mostly where the child does not have any natural guardian. Trukuti susu, there are some, pane pamwe panoda kuti zvoni magistrate court, iyo ichigara is the children's court, sekoti yevana, inokodzera kunzwa nyaya dzeguardianship. Handiti kana mwana asitorina vabereki zvamuchose, asitorina vabereki kana kuti maybe vakashaya, kana kuti I don't know, havazivikanwe, kana kuti all those kind of, but kana asitoripo mubereki, then magistrate court ndiyo inofana kuita sei kuchinzwa nyaya dzeguardianship. Anditka. Chatinotanga kuita, what's the first step when applying for guardianship? And we start by, appointing, not we as in us. The High Court has to appoint a curator ad litem. So you cannot start this process if there is no curator ad litem. The curator is very, very important when it comes to such applications. Tuti susu, munofana kutotanga first step musati maita this whole application guardianship is kuchaga munhu anonzi iye a curator ad litem. Mukwanise kutoenderera mberi ne-application guardianship kana pasina curator in place. So what's the role of the curator? I'm sure most of you must be asking yourselves that. So the role of the curator is to protect the interest of the child. Like, I think mainly that's the role of the curator. Like, he has to make sure that the child's interests are protected. So what he does is he will conduct some investigations, because maybe the child will be forced to, you know what, a certain parent be their guardian. Maybe a certain parent to be their guardian. Or maybe in cases where it has to do with relocating, maybe the child relocator. So the curator has to make sure that all is in place and has to make sure that whatever the application for guardianship is being done for, the child is in agreement with that. So you have to appoint this curator. But you have to get it. So you have to choose, maybe as a family or the applicant, they have to choose whoever that they would want to appoint as a curator, which represent my interest in one. But you have to get a consent. You just don't like rock up at the High Court and be like, I want this person to be a curator, to be the curator, blah blah, and the person is not even, aware of this whole thing. So you have to get a consent from them, and that consent has to be, filed as an annex as well in the main application. So that's what happens. So that's that application for a curator. So panoto itwa a different application for a curator, so that you get a court order appointing the person as a curator. But also that also that application for a curator has to be, served kuna master of the High Court, so that the master writes a report. Do they want this person, or do they deem him fit to be appointed as the curator, or they have their misgivings, or so the master, after receiving the application, has to write a report as well, and that report will also be attached as an annexure in the main application. So after that is done, we now go into the the main application. So you see, guys, it's not really that difficult. It does not have to be difficult, but sometimes we just make things difficult for ourselves. So once that is done, we then go on to the main application now, the application for guardianship. As long as you get the court order, curator, then now we start with the main application. So on the main application, there are some annexures that have to be, attached to the application. Application, main application. That is obviously the first thing is the founding affidavit. The applicant. We need the applicant's founding affidavit that is signed on oath and all that. And then we need supporting affidavits. These are from maybe interested parties or family members, or anyone who might be interested in this kind of application. So you file those, you annex those, you put them as annexures in the main application for guardianship. So in the founding affidavit, the applicant has to really state the reasons why they would want to be the sole guardian of this minor child. If it's relocating, you state why you're relocating. You also state if you are going to be, maybe financially stable, or if the child's life is going to be is going to improve as to like maybe monomu, or all those kind of things. So you have to put all those annexures, and then you put also some evidence as well that might be necessary for the application, like maybe the child's birth certificates, the child's or the IDs of whoever that would want to, have sole guardian of the child, and any other necessary evidence that might be required for this application. So once that is done, and also please guys, don't forget, you also attach the court order appointing the curator. You also attach the curator's investigations report, or if they interview the child, like the report, they have to write a report after interviewing the child. You have to also put that as an annexure. You have to also put the master's report, whatever the master would have said, you have to put it. And remember, the curator's report is not meant to give a final decision or anything. It's just there to help the courts to come to a conclusion as to whether to grant the application or not to grant the application. So, and also the curator's consent, you have to also put it as an annexure as well. So once that is done, you then file the application at the High Court, and then you wait for the decision, the court's decision. These applications do not always succeed, guys, and they are not always unsuccessful as well, because the court really has to look into the whole application, and they have to take serious considerations before they can actually grant or deny the application, because these are sensitive issues. This is a child's life that is at stake, so you cannot afford to tamper with the child's life. So inogona kubvumwa application, inogona kusabvumwa. It depends nekuti court yaona zvakakodzera here kuti ibvume kana kuti isabvume. So guys, this is all with regards to application for guardianship. It's not really that complicated. So if you want to relocate and maybe you're a single parent, or you don't stay with your kid, or the kid stays with another parent, and then you feel like you would want to go with your kids overseas or anything like that, then you are allowed to. Or even if you are here in Zimbabwe and you see it's better if I just be a sole guardian of my child or anything like that, then you are also free to make an application to the High Court or the Magistrate Court, depending on the circumstances of the case. So this is all, guys. This is really all. If you do have any questions, if you need further assistance, please do not hesitate to contact any of the legal services or legal providers within the country, or to comment in our comment section, or do not hesitate. We'll be more than willing to assist, and I'm sure all of our learned colleagues out there will also be willing to assist. So that's all that we had for you today. It was very short, precise, and straight to the point. I hope you guys enjoyed, because I really did. And it's a Friday after all. I gotta bounce, guys. I hope you guys are going to enjoy your Friday. Please stay safe. Do not drink and drive. Thank you, and we love you so much. Until next time. Ciao.
Hi guys, my name is Nkosi Nebare and I'm from Nangati and Associates. Thank you for watching our podcast, The Law Abiding Citizens. Please don't forget to watch the next episode, like, share, and hit the notification button down here below. See you in our next episode.